Alright, hello and welcome to my Code Geass intermission. Leelock of the Rebellion. Lelouch, Lelouch, however you say it. Lelouch. So yeah, it's either Lelouch or Lelouch. I think it's Lelouch from what people have advised me on. I'll lean towards that, or I'll just say Code Geass. I really want to get into Season 2. I want to dive into Season 2, so I have to do this Code Geass intermission. It's been quite a time since I saw Season 1, maybe a month or so by now. I intended to record this earlier, but the first time I went about recording it, family interrupted me and thus ruined my video. They started shouting like maniacs, and that is never more frustrating than when you're trying to make a video. Something like that happens and interferes with recording when you want to record. Very frustrating. But nonetheless, massive spoiler warnings, so get out of here if you have not seen Season 1. This is only for folks who want to kind of hear a few of my thoughts. And I did it so well the first time around. I'm not going to do as good this time, I know it. But anyhow, I wanted to do a worthy intermission of sorts after I cleared Season 1, but before I jumped into Season 2. I want to get several topics. I want to get to several topics. Mostly, Lelouch's biggest weakness and flaw, but we'll hold off on that until later. Had to smile at that, baiting you along. This is a massive chessboard, and that's awesome strategy. Too many moving pieces for me to remember, so this probably won't and this probably won't be as brief as I intended it to be. It never goes that way. I kind of ramble, but anyhow, the basics are Britannia rules 1/3 the world. Japan is ruled over by Britannia. It doesn't have its independence. There's some mixed people. I think the Japanese are called 11s. And forgive me if I don't remember everything right, and please do forgive me about not remembering characters' names. I have a cheat sheet here with little icons of what they look like, so I know who's who. And some things I just will never remember right, and I'm horrible on different elements of a show. But nonetheless, I think the Japanese are called 11s. I forget if it was the Japanese or the mix. I think it was the Japanese that were called 11s. Talk down. They have like a derogatory term for them, 11s. Like a zone or something they must be in or something. I don't know. But one thing I really, really enjoy with anime as a whole is how, and what was good in this, was how ranks and royalty were portrayed. I love just how they're portrayed. It's really well done. That's always really well done in anime, just like with mansions of sorts. I love how that's always portrayed. But moving on to kind of character relationships, good luck to my memory on this, but there was the Suzaku. Okay, I got that wrong in my notes. Suzaku, and Yuffie dynamic, and then there was Lelouch or Lelouch and Shirley dynamic. They had a bit of a thing, and Suzaku and Euphemy had a thing going on as well. Euphemia, whatever. Let's see. So code Geass, or Lelouch. So he gained that Geass, and that character CC. I'll just call her CC, whatever, on the pronunciation of character names. I am so sorry. But yeah, I always get character names wrong. Botch. Whatever. I keep the botches in. I'm that good. So, Lelouch, he leads a rebellion of the Japanese against Britannia. And that's pretty huge. To go against 1/3 the world power. That is huge. That is huge, and that takes guts. So he wants to liberate Japan. He's got this backstory. There's this ongoing mystery. He wants to get revenge on his father. His father leads Britannia. So and there was the thing about him wanting to avenge his mother's death and the mystery surrounding his mother's death, which is going to play a role later on, season 2. Season 1 is the framework. Season 2 is always the execution, where things get a lot more high stake. But yeah, he wants to avenge his mother's death, and he wants to create this ideal world he has in mind for his little sister Nunnally, who's very vulnerable as a character. Very vulnerable, and that's a thing to get to as well. But crazy risky business leading a military rebellion against 1/3 the world power. Pretty impressive. Great Japanese VA, so essentially what we know as the sub. I think it's silly when people feud over, I've seen it a couple times where people feud over, oh, this is really dub, this is really sub, whatever. You know what we're talking about. People know what we're talking about. So yeah, the sub, really well done. I think I heard the dub is good, but I'm really liking the sub. Confident, such confident, perfect VA for Lelouch. Just the perfect VA. Super confident, just absolute stellar for the role. Whoever casted him, good job. So, now in terms of Geass, over the course of the season, and probably more so in season 2 as well, to a more severe degree, we are going to see more and more a loss of control. I don't know to what end, but essentially the Geass, to have such a big benefit, you have to have these detriments, and that creates a flaw. It's a double-edged sword. It's a two-sided coin. He got like a 50% off deal, but the price was double to begin with, essentially. Different things like that, you could word it. So he's losing control. The Geass is going rogue against him over time, and I don't know if that goes even more berserk and takes him over in season 2. I don't know. That would be pretty bad. But I think it was interesting in a creative sense that there were, from what we saw, multiple kinds of Geass. I think so far we have Lelouch's, which is the control one. He can temporarily control someone, and then he can't again for a certain amount of time. I think it was interesting, I'll add this in, I think it was interesting that it portrayed him in season 1 testing his limits with the Geass. He wanted to get comfortable with his power. That's a really good thing to do, because if you got this random supernatural ability, you would be testing it out. That's very smart. And with his line of work, he really needed to test it out for safety reasons, test every aspect of it. So, and then let's see, there was the mind reader guy. I forget what his name was. I don't think it matters. That'll probably make fans happy, say that it didn't matter. I don't know which one it was. Can't remember him. Can't remember his face. Whatever. So yeah, there was also a mind reader one. He could just manipulate someone because he knew their every thought. But there was, again, a flaw in that he can be overwhelmed by people's thoughts around him. So I like that. I like, in a creative sense, that the characters are flawed, that there's some sort of flaw. I think that always makes something interesting, whether it's the good guy or the bad guy. I think it's always interesting that they have some sort of flaw. They have an Achilles heel of some kind. But anyhow, Euphemia, however you want to go about it. So mega spoilers. She was what I think was one of, probably for me, the outside of the, kind of finale fight for Japan to take it over for good, in the final episodes there, the final couple episodes. I think episode 18 was the most memorable for me. It was just chaos, and I really enjoyed it. So Euphemia was sacrificed, a friend, who he had connections to, and who Suzaku digged. She was sacrificed for his ideal world. He, first off, number one, his Geass went rogue against her, so everything went absolutely bonkers, not according to plan. And that was a very good episode. And number two, I think it was great that they portrayed her as not willing to go through with it, and she was definitely being totally controlled against her will, 100%. And then it was interesting as well that she tried to create a plan B on her own, apart from Lelouch, his ideal. So she created this scenario where they could have like this peace zone and live as themselves, whatever. It wasn't what Lelouch was fighting for, going for. So the Geass went rogue against her, and all heck broke loose. It was nuts, and I really enjoyed it. So her hand was forced. There was a ton of madness, chaos, and bloodshed, and Lelouch exploited that. The rebellion exploited that. They exploited the heat of the moment to help create their ideal. So, and as I said, I think it was part of the peak of season 1. I definitely think that was part of the peak. Outside of the couple episodes at the end there and the cliffhanger. Oh, that's a bad cliffhanger. Oh man. Anyhow, another topic. And I jot down notes generally for some sort of video where I ramble about things. I just jot down general notes and then talk about this, move on to the next bit, whatever. So topic and subtopic, kind of. So we talked about Yuffie. Now let's talk about Cornelia. like I say, it's been a while, and even without it being a while, my memory ain't perfect. I'm getting older. So I don't think she got killed off, but it was close, and yet she knows it's Lelouch, I think. And then I believe she was picked up. I forget if this was similar to another character or not, because I seem to recall something else from my notes very similar to that. So that is a huge, huge problem if she did not get killed off. Because I believe she knows it's him, and she may have escaped alive. So, but he did defeat her with, and her mech. That's another thing. I'm not a crazy mecha. Oh, I just say mech. Mecha fan. This was really my first mecha in probably 12 years. I don't know. Jeez. Well, outside of maybe one other one, but you know what I mean. I'm not a general fan. In certain regards, I could be, but you know, it's like sports genre. You know, why would I be interested in sports genre? I don't watch sports in real life. I got too much other things to do. So, getting off on a rabbit trail there. Let's bring it back. So, I think Cornelia survived. I think she has his identity, and that's very, very bad for him in season 2. His identity, which was a tension all throughout season 1, the inevitable of his identity slipping outside of the safety circle, essentially, of his contacts. Now, Callan. Oh, I like the mech that she pilots. She does good piloting that crazy mech. The opponent to Lancelot. I forget what it was called. But anyhow, Callan. I know somebody will correct me on this for the actual finale episode because I mentioned it. But once again, I'll mention it here in case somebody doesn't correct me, or fill me in. I was confused, and this is because everyone has their favorite anime and they remember it best, and certain ones, and you know, you can't have every anime as your favorite and remember everything, you know. So you can't appease everyone and be a fan of every single anime to the highest regard. Nonetheless, this was a good season 1 build, but I was confused why she had shock at the end when she realized it was Lelouch, when he, you know, had revealed himself. Why she was like in a negative mood and shocked and stunned and like disappointed and sad. So a whole mix, a flurry of emotion negatively. So I was confused because I assumed and thought, you know, that she had learned that at some point already. So if that was the first time she learned such, then that would make more sense. But I thought they were well aware of one another at some point. I think there was that one moment where he had to pretend it wasn't him, probably to her. I think I can remember that a bit. He was like pretending on the phone, or predicted it. Man, he is very smart, tactical, and master. You know, he's master logician, master chessman. He is, you know, he is perfect for the role of his ideal that he's trying to bring about. He is the one person who can do it, who can lead the rebellion. And that's a later point as well. And I thought of another point, so hopefully I don't forget it. So yeah, it's just there's so much to keep track of with this anime, and you could lose sight of every moving piece really easily because there's a lot of moving pieces. But this world that they were trying to create, you know, it seemed fairly, you know, fine to comprehend what they were trying to portray and the world that they were creating with this anime, you know. And for something like Guilty Crown, I never finished Guilty Crown. I got like 2/3 of the way, and then I just couldn't intake it all, encapsulate it all, everything they were trying to dish out, the world that they were trying to create, and all the details. I got lost along the way. I probably was going too fast, but so that would be a good mixed series to do, both commentary and blind. But anyhow, moving on. I'll look up her name because it's a different character. It's the what I called suicidal smart girl. And this is just, you know, what I see it as is it's a less serious of a threat in the sense of, oh, it's just that smart girl who's teed off. But how I see it is it's in the long run or the short run, whatever the case for season 2, but it's just another card stacked against him. So they're stacking the deck. They're making it as though he's going to have such a little chance of survival in season 2 is what it is. They want us to doubt that he's going to be able to withstand all these different setups. And he's found a way so far. So don't let me finish this video without mentioning something about that cape. I need to mention about that cape at the end. Hold up. Alright, so we're at Suicidal Smart Girl. There. I put it in there. I put it in the notes. Alright, so I will mention the cape. Again, I gotta mention the cape near the end. But anyhow. So yeah, the Suicidal Smart Girl, on behalf of her, I guess, friend at that point, Yuffie, dying at the hands of Zero, Lelouch. You know, she wants revenge against him, and she is willing to take herself out in this, you know, whatever, suicidal bomber mech that could implode at any time or whenever she wants. Whatever it was, she has a button to detonate the whole thing. So she's essentially a mecha, in a suicide mecha bomber against Lelouch. So to me, it's not a very serious threat, but nonetheless, it's there in the sense of it's stacking the deck. So I think we should move on to another topic. Next topic. So surely, you know, I was going along with it fairly well. I think I knew what they were getting at, and there's a second layer with a different character, but nonetheless, I saw that there was a total problem with him trying to bring about what he's trying to bring about. He cannot have these ties here and there and everywhere. He has to get rid of all these ties. He has to get rid of his friends. He has to give up what life he could have had. He has to give up the friends, give up the girl, give up all these things to bring about his ideal world, or else those things could simply be used against him. It's like any given superhero, let's say, just first thought, Superman. If he has a girlfriend, then she becomes a target to the bad guys, to the heels, to the villains. And that could ultimately lead to a very bad situation and possibly the hero's downfall, because, you know, the heels have to fight a bit unfairly. So, anyhow. So, yeah, I think the best thing he could do was stay distant to her. I mean, obviously there's something going on between them, and of course he had to wipe her memory. Maybe it was 2 times. I can't remember. I'm sorry, but it probably was 2 times. Let's go with it. So she got her memories wiped by his Geass. She knew too much. He had to wipe it, and I think it was the case that one episode where it got complicated. The attack thing he did inevitably affected her life in a huge way negatively, and she wanted comfort from him, and he couldn't comfort her to a great deal. And in that fight or whatever, the landslide thing, it had killed off her father, I believe. So mega terrible situation, very terrible situation. But anyhow, another topic. Suzaku. I wrote it Suzaku. Darn it. These anime names, and they'll always get me, won't they? Yeah, Suzaku. Kururugi. Alright, so he's friends of Lelouch. I think that was established in the very beginning. The interesting thing with Suzaku and Lelouch is they have, you know, alternate ideals. They have 2 separate ideals. Lelouch wants to transform Britannia from the outside. Suzaku wants to peacefully change Britannia from the inside. And, you know, as I said, who was it again? Yuffie, of course, Yuffie. Yuffie tried her own route, and that didn't work out for her. My gosh. But yeah, Suzaku and Lelouch, I think it's very interesting. That got very tense, unto the worst cliffhanger you could hope for, but a wonderful one to hype season 2 to pick up on. And I'm aware there was something announced with the whatever franchise, and I'm aware that there's like movies as well, or whatever the case. I'm not gonna even think about those. I just want to think about season 2 and not be spoiled. At the most, I was very upset that I saw a season 2 finale thumbnail, but I don't you know, fully know or remember, or whatever the case. But anyhow, I that's the other thing. It is so difficult to fight against spoilers when you're doing a series. So that's why I've adopted the policy: don't look up the reactions until you've been through it, and also try not to look up the soundtrack bits, because those could also involve spoilery thumbnails and titles that eventually surface. So anyhow, they have opposing ideals of routes to the ideal for the betterment of Japan. So one wants to fight, one wants the peaceful route. Nonetheless, the peaceful route was fighting against the rebellion, and there were different names, whatever the case. This, and Black Knights, and different factions, which was interesting. So yeah, Suzaku fights for Britannia. It's like worst case scenario left and right, and Lelouch has gotten himself out of so many dang situations. It's amazing, very impressive. His life was on the line so many dang times, and he always slipped through their fingers. Man, is it gonna eventually catch up to him? I wonder. And with the whatever they announced with Code Geass for the franchise or whatever, a season 3 of sorts or whatever it was. I didn't see the title. I heard somebody said the title gives away something important. I don't know the title. Believe you me, I will plow through season 2 so that I don't get spoiled. I will plow through season 2. Full pace. Full throttle. So, don't have to worry about that. Yeah, oh man, I hate spoilers. I hate spoilers. I hate knowing stuff about Steins Gate Zero. I hate knowing stuff about Heaven's Feel. I hate that so much, because those are my 2 top hype-worthy things I'm looking forward to. But I'll save those for another video, which I recorded already. But this will probably come out before that. But anyhow, so yeah, and the worst case is, Lelouch in all these military situations, his life is on the line, and sure enough, his old pal Suzaku, I don't know about old pal, but you know what I'm saying, pal, whatever. He pilots the Lancelot, really good mech of Britannia. It's not fair because the deck is honestly stacked. Britannia has 1/3 the world power, resources, money. They essentially have infinite resources compared to the rebellion. The rebellion had to, penny pinch everywhere they could, hijack every mech they could, whatever, to dare stand any chance. Meanwhile, Britannia, they can just keep advancing, keep upgrading, all that, while the enemy is just, toothpicking away at whatever they can. It's stacking the deck, and it's the underdog story. I'm looking at the cape right now. That is a good cape. We will get to that though. I'll probably keep mentioning it. One thing I'm surprised about is I thought people would dislike me at the midway point going, Code Geass, Lelouch of the Rebellion, Lelouch of the Rebellion, or whatever. I thought people would dislike them, but nobody's mentioned that so far in the comments, so we'll hope the rest of the way. But maybe I won't do that for season 2, and maybe for season 2 I'll change it up. I'm open to advice. I generally like to watch the teaser if they provide a teaser, but I can understand on some basis not watching the teasers if season 2 is as important as it is, or as it would be with any season 2. Clan Ad season 2, you wouldn't want to see stuff that should be blind, But anyhow, rambling on. So yeah, just worst case scenario. Friend against friend, 2 opposing sides, life and death, battling it out, 2 different routes they want to take. Nonetheless, they have to feud. And that sure as heck got to a peak at the cliffhanger. Mega cliffhanger. That is a good cliffhanger. My gosh. That is a good cliffhanger. Makes you want to jump right into season 2, and I want to. That's why I'm doing this right now. I want to jump into season 2 and plow through it. I want to do that. But anyhow. Villetta. There we are. Villetta. Alright, now I remember. Now that I see the... I didn't know by the name, but... So, Villetta New, or New Villetta. Whatever the case. We'll go with Villetta New. So, that was an interesting thing. She was part of the enemy, and with this element, I knew it was going to be problematic later on if they didn't take the right route with certain things. Because this is high stakes. I love high stakes. I love high stakes anime. The higher the stakes, the more intense and captivating it is. So, Villetta, she got her memory wiped, or whatever the case, during a feud or spat, and then, Ogi kind of took care of her. Fan service, but there was that inevitable dread that she would eventually remember and turn against all those around her in the rebellion. And sure enough, her memories did indeed return, and she killed Ogi. Or rather, I think she did kill Ogi. They may have said that he just was really doing bad, but she probably killed him. Ogi sounds like Yogi, but he's not a bear. Huh. Anyhow. So, and I believe she was also a character that was picked up. She went outdoors, she made her way outdoors, and she was picked up. Funny how fast they found her, though. Anyhow. So she is likely another character that knows Lelouch's real identity, which is a big problem. His identity is going to get out. There's going to be a full-fledged manhunt, and they're going to know who Zero is. And that brings to another thing. The leader of Britannia, being his father, if he hears that Lelouch is Zero, I wonder what is going to happen. I really wonder what's going to happen. So, there's that inevitable... Well, I don't know about inevitable, but there's that possible route for it to take, that he will eventually somehow confront the highest rank in Britannia, his father. But anyhow, so yeah, so there's two characters that have gotten away with his identity, I think. My memory might be wiped trying to keep track of it all and also recalling this stuff. I am like a month later on this, so and it's a whole heck of a lot easier when you're just doing one anime for fun, not reacting, in terms of being able to remember and all that. But anyhow, CC, all right, CC. So she's quite a unique looking character, and I'm wondering if she's, I don't know, I'm really curious about that character. Britannia somehow created her, modified her to be a Geass giver of sorts. And there was one other thing, which I have to say right now or else I'll forget. There were these weird ancient elevators or something. They were called something. I don't know what those are gonna, what role those might play, but I'm thinking they might play a role in something. But anyhow, CC, she was the one who gave Geass the power in the beginning. Very odd. So I'm curious about more of her backstory, because we saw that one other bizarre dude kind of go berserk against Lelouch, who was like seemingly like an experimenty dude, who was just berserk with his own mech or whatever. And I think we saw others being experimented on. I think we did see that. So it's just bizarre. I'm wondering if these the Geass grantors were created, modified by Britannia for some reason or somehow. I don't know. There might be a layer to it. There might not be. I don't know. But anyhow, that was my question. There might be others like her. Obviously, what struck me was the one who took Nunnally. That seemed very suspicious to me. I knew there was something going on with that character when I saw that character. Very unique looking, like CC. And CC was the one who took down that berserker dude. She like sacrificed herself. They went down to the depths of the ocean. Mech versus mech. She sacrificed herself to save Lelouch. But I presume she's still alive, considering there's a whole season 2. Maybe she returns, helps him out one last time, because she had these amazing healing abilities, which certainly helped in the situation they got themselves in multiple times. Which there was that one good story episode where there was this dude after CC who she was involved with, and that was a really good scenario situation. That was a really good episode from what I recall. But anyhow, more rabbit trails. So yeah, I presume she's yet alive, but how can she survive without air? You know, she can heal herself, yeah, but how can she survive without air? So there's that. And then here we are at long last. Nunnally herself, Lelouch's little sister. But hold up one moment. There was that one bit that I remember now. I'm getting too warm. I gotta getting too excited with this, or whatever the case. Whew. Cornelia, you know, because I'm remembering as I go. Oh, and also the top dude is Charles Z or Charles Z Britannia. But anyhow, Cornelia, yeah, Lelouch defeated her and used his Geass on her to try and figure out through her who killed his mom. And that was something that got cut short. We did not know, but we got a minor lead on, which is also going to play a role in season 2. So we have different things that are going to become prominent, and they are probably saving the golden plot nugget, which is going to be related to the death of his mom, whoever took out his mom. They're going to save the golden plot nugget for that, as far as I'm aware. and can predict. I think that is going to be the case. They are going to save the golden plot nugget. There's usually a golden plot nugget. End of angel beats, whatever the case, however you want to call it or label it. So yeah, that's what I think. But anyhow, Nunnally. If Lelouch had a flaw in the first part of season 1, it was the girl. It was where'd she go? Shirley. It was Shirley, because the girlfriend type regard. It creates this huge weak zone where he can't have a weak zone. So, if he's interested in her, then he's going to try and protect her. If he's not as interested in her and he's distant from her, then he doesn't need to protect her. The enemy can use those people, whatever, as pawns, and it don't matter. So he has higher survivability without his flaws. But his greatest flaw, I believe to be his little sister, Nunnally. Nunnally, going on a little rabbit trail, but Nunnally is the character I see most. Quite obviously, she's the most vulnerable character. So if there were a character to be taken out, in a certain fashion, I would think that it would no doubt be her from a writing perspective. You can usually predict who it would be in an anime. So I don't know if they're going to go that route or not. Whatever the case, if they do or don't, I don't know. But if they were to take a character route, I would imagine it would be Nunnally. She's the weakest. It makes sense. She's defenseless pretty much. And she most prominently is his weakness, his big weakness. He wants to create the world, his ideal world for her, a safe place, whatever the case, for her to live. And yet, it was a very interesting thing, because at the end of season 1, this is going to be a long intermission. Gosh dang, I was just looking at the time. But one heck of an intermission. But nearing the end there, he learned that she was taken, and he was leading a huge, successful rebellion to take Japan, to take Kyoto, the capital. So he was on the verge of a large part of his ideal. Backup was being sent. And he really is the one person who can properly lead the rebellion. It's him. He's the only one who can successfully lead the rebellion and bring about his ideal. He's the only one who can do it. As we saw, he put, and this is because that's his weakness, he put his priority of Nunnally over part of his ideal. Nunnally is part of his ideal, I guess you could say. So the rebellion without Leelock, there we go, Leelock, great. Lelouch, if I say Lelouch, just ignore it. Even with season 2 reactions, whatever the case. Lelouch. Now I lost my thought. But without him, the rebellion starts to get squished. the rebellion starts losing. So it highlights that he can't have these weaknesses. He can't have these weaknesses. He has to successfully lead Japan 100%. So yeah, and it was very interesting because that other character, like CC, for whatever reason, took Nunnally, kidnapped Nunnally, brought her to that weird island or whatever, possibly with that weird elevator thing. I think they were still outside. I don't know. There was whatever ancient elevator thing or something. I don't know what that's about. There might be more to that or might not be, but they were outdoors. So it'll probably be a new character ongoing with season 2. And so it's just lots of elements. There's just a lot going on. So and that brings me to the rebellion. They were, as I said, they were on the verge. They were on the verge of securing Japan. My gosh. But Lelouch prioritized his sister, Nunnally. You know, rescuing her. And I don't know the intentions of this whatever character like CC. What's she named in this stuff? VV. Alright, so VV. So let's assume she's the opposite of CC. So she's VV. She's a Geass giver. Wait a second. I just thought of something. What if VV gives Nunnally a Geass? Hoo boy, would that shake things up. If there was ever any creative route to explore, it would probably be that, what I just thought up. That would be very interesting. And what is she going to fill her mind with and tell her about Lelouch? Jeez. So he went to save her. He left the rebellion, and the rebellion started to get squished without him leading it, which it's so their biggest chance probably will fail because he left. And that's the other thing that I just now remembered. They were all very upset that he left and he was suddenly missing and not part of the final assault there anymore. So it created a lot of confusion, and there's going to be a lot of hatred towards Lelouch now within the rebellion. So that's bad. Very, very bad. There are so many bad things, cans being kicked down the road that eventually have to be addressed, which is good from a writing perspective. And it draws out season 2. There's plenty of content to explore. But anyhow, this is going to be over an hour, isn't it? Wow. I guess it won't be tonight that I get to season 2. Anyhow. But I'm getting there. I'm getting near the conclusion. But we can get it to an hour. We'll get it to an hour. Don't worry. Literally in my notes, dat cliffhanger. So Kyoto, the capital, being won. Japan was being taken back. Lelouch left the leadership role to someone else who nobody else is as fitting in those shoes. He left to save his little sister Nunnally instead of lead the final takeover of Kyoto and secure Japan. Rebellion all over Japan. And who knows what might happen now. There could be more reinforcements, or they could just not secure Kyoto, and then reinforcements go to Kyoto and then spread out. Who knows? But the battle began turning leaderless. The rebellion is nothing without Lelouch. They're making that perfectly clear. Lelouch is the only man who can tip the scales. He's the one man who is born to do it. So without him, the cause of the rebellion is lost. And there was the cliffhanger. Callan was there. Lelouch was there. Suzaku was there. Suzaku confronted Zero, aka Lelouch, and Suzaku now knows Lelouch's identity, something that has been built unto the end of season 1 there. That was a pretty bad cliffhanger. They did it really well. I gotta admit. To end it off, those two polar opposites, Callan as a spectator, the two of them pointing guns at each other, and you go to a blank screen and hear a gunshot. That is one way to hype a season 2. So good job on that. Definitely good job on that. But anyhow, so the question is Lelouch willing to sacrifice Suzaku for his ideal world, to create his ideal world? The answer to that is yes, he would be. Lelouch is going to, I think it's going to be prominent moving forward. Lelouch is going, his feet are so deep in the mud that he has to stay committed. He has to keep plowing through the swamp. He's gotten himself so far that he has to go forward no matter what. No matter the odds, the stakes, he has to keep going. Or else everything he's done so far, as he brought up at some point, I believe, that everything would be pointless, that they tried to do, all their efforts would be in vain. Yep, we're gonna get it to an hour. Yes. All right. Yeah. All right. Season 2. The season 2 hype is real. So, all right. So either Lelouch shot Suzaku, or Suzaku shot Lelouch, or Callan shot Suzaku or Lelouch. Or there was another character there that we didn't see that fired some sort of warning shot. But I think firing a shot when two people are pointing guns at each other is pretty risky business. So as I see it, I think the highest chance would be that, man, I don't know. I really don't know. I see that. I don't know what would be the highest chance. I don't know, but I think the most, I don't think it's going to go this way, but I think it would be, I don't know. I think Suzaku is going to make it through, but nonetheless, I think Lelouch would be the one to have shot Suzaku. But I don't think that's going to be the case. I think he's willing to, but I don't think that's going to be the case. I think Callan might fire off a warning shot for both of them to stop, or something like that. Some other, either Callan or a third party there. But anyhow, probably one of the best cliffhangers. You instantly need to know, want to know, desperately want to know who it is, that who shot and who shot who. So one of my final points is essentially something I talked about earlier. The deck is stacked. The deck is stacked. That's a really, really good thing. Creates tension, creates expectation, creates all this hype and unknown. And how is Lelouch going to survive a season 2 with all these different elements? His identity is going to get out. He's Zero. I think the 2 characters, possibly third with whatever this VV character is. And that's the other thing. What does that character want and all that, and why with Nunnally and all that sort. She might try and manipulate Lelouch. Interesting stuff. But yeah, so the deck was stacked from the very beginning of the show, and it still is stacked. And I like how they built all these different elements against him that he has to eventually deal with down the road. The Suzaku and Lelouch at gunpoint situation, that's even stacking the deck for season 2. Nunnally is presumed a hostage in a mild sense for some purpose, so that's stacking the deck. The suicidal girl on behalf of Yuffie, who wants to take out Zero, that is stacking the deck. When Lelouch's father, let's just say King of Britannia or whatever, when he hears that Lelouch is the leader of the rebellion, Black Knights, whatever, or as Zero, whatever, he's going to want to take out Lelouch. So you can expect his hand to get involved in season 2 as well. As I said, Lelouch will be known as Zero. His identity will be no longer concealed. Higher risk involved with that. The Kyoto, Japan rebellion possibly squashed in his absence. That could be, in the long term, a hindrance, a massive blow to his ideal that he was trying to bring about. Yeah, we made it past an hour. Yes, 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 yeah. All right. Awesome. So yeah, now just a couple more things. We'll get to a couple different expectations, the cape, and my one biggest idea for season 2. So expectations of season 2. Season 1 was a great build, very impressive. Once again, I'll say, season 1s are like the framework, and then season 2s are like the execution. So like, for instance, whatever, Clanad season 1 and Clanad season 2, or Little Busters 1 season 1 and Little Busters season 2. Framework, then execution. It goes in different directions, and yet there was still a lot of meat and potatoes in season 1. So it's a really, really good anime. I'm surprised I've never seen it before. So yeah. I think I lost a thought there, but nevertheless, we're over an hour, so we're good anyway. Not that we were shooting for it, but we were at some point. Not from the beginning, though. Another question, as I said, is Lelouch willing to sacrifice Suzaku? I think he is, but I don't think that's going to happen yet. Maybe that would be a great midway point for season 2. I'm not sure. And that's another thing. How I should probably wait until the end of that, but how would a season 2 end? And how would a season 2 end considering there's now a supposed season 3 of some sort that I don't know the title of, that I'm going to avoid like the plague, and any other spoilers. I'm not going to look up what will probably be a pretty dang good opening and ending songs of season 2. I'm not going to look anything up. Maybe I won't look at the teasers at the end of the episodes. Who knows? I generally like to if they're included. But I can understand for people who might not want you to, but I generally like to. So did Suzaku shoot Lelouch? We don't know. Did Callan interfere and decide before they could? Who knows? Did another party interfere? Who knows? I expect the golden plot nugget of the series to be revealed in season 2, probably deep into it near the end, which is the actual details, or maybe halfway, the details surrounding Lelouch's mother's death. I think that is going to be revealed as a golden plot nugget. So, similar to the end of many great anime, I love when they save a golden plot nugget. That's what I really like with anime. Season 2 can only be where things really heat up. As much as there were just peaks and battles and all over the place in season 1, really more than you could expect. So they really delivered with season 1. So what could season 2 be? You know, so that's what you're thinking. More of the same, but the gauge or the gouge, whatever, is ramped up. The controls are ramped up. So it's going to be more high stakes, more stacking the deck, more fights, more tension, more risk, more rebellion, more Britannia trying to maintain control of things. You know, and now we will be heading towards a conclusion. And I'm also curious about season 3. Is it going to maintain the art style of the flamingo legs? I'm wondering if it's going to retain the art style. But nonetheless, it'll probably look amazing in, you know, like, whatever the case, 10-year updated visuals. Similar to what I want with Clanad. I would love a updated visually version. Keeping everything else the same, the scenes, whatever the case, just improve similar to what Madoka Magica did with the show to the movies. I think the movies improved the visuals, which was awesome. And the cape is so epic. It's so cool. I declare that cape to be cool. That is the best cape in anime. It has to be. It just has to be. You know, it probably puts, you know, Okabe Rintaro's lab coat to shame. You know, that cape, it's just really, really good on the character design. Really good on the character design with that cape. You don't see a cape like that. It's really well done. I can't get to the meat and potatoes of it, but it's just really representative of a, whatever the case, a power figure, if you, I guess, in a way. So I guess that would be my best meat and potatoes statement of it. So that is one cape. If I had a cape that was 5% of that, I'd have one epic and cool cape. So very good cape. So now, one final thing, my one idea for a season 2 conclusion. This is my one idea. I haven't thought of anything else, but I think it would be interesting, although it's probably very unlikely to happen. I'll still say it. For those who stuck along this whole time and listened to me ramble on forever about Code Geass Season 1, in a Code Geass, Lelouch of the Rebellion, Intermission, in between seasons, saw Season 1, about to see Season 2, so my one idea. I'll make a massive guess. Probably not going to happen, probably not going to go this route, but I think it would be interesting from a kind of a writing perspective, I guess. And that would be that, you know, Lelouch will have to sacrifice himself in the end for his ideal to be brought about, thus never quite seeing it, but it would come about after he's gone. I don't know what that would look like, but I think that would be interesting. What do you think? I don't know. I'm really excited. Wait. I was gonna say it different. I'm so excited. I'm about to lose control of my Geass and I don't like it. I thought of that. I thought of that a month ago for my notes or whatever the case. Oh, that's funny. And that's the end. That's the end. That is my Code Geass intermission. Thank you very much for listening this whole dang time to this. And I will see you up ahead in Season 2. Thank you very much. I will see you up ahead. Take her cool.